بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون صدق الله العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. My dear respected brothers, elders, listeners, the verse of the Holy Quran that I've recited, 184, Surah Al-Baqarah, para number 2, which is related to Ramadan and related to the days of Ramadan and related to some concession which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given and related to the ransom that one should pay if they cannot fast. So inshallah, in this one verse, a few rules related to Ramadan will be discussed that we will learn inshallah. As I have mentioned previously also, one ruku in the Quran is Surah Al-Baqarah, which speaks about Ramadan, fasting, i'tikaf, dua, Quran, and how it's connected to Ramadan. At the bare minimum, we should try and study in depth this ruku, which is only 5 to 6 ayats, verses. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins the verse with أَيَّامًا مَعْدُودَات. There are days which are limited, which are counted. Meaning Ramadan is only 1 month that we fast. The rest of the 11 months we have off. It's only 1 month, it's only limited days, it's not something to worry about. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us assurance in the previous verse before this that it's not something new. Fasting has been going on from the time of Adam alayhi salam. It's not identical, the fast and the time and duration, but fasting is not something new, it's something which has been continuing from the time of Adam alayhi salam all the way up until now. And then Allah is assuring us that it's only limited days, it's not all throughout the year. Allah gives us Ramadan and makes it easy for us to continuously fast for 1 month. And then the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whether the month is 29 or 30, we will still get, it's not like we're restricted from the reward because it was 29 days, we will get the reward of a full month. Because in our deen, 29 days or 30 days is what will be classified as a full month. فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. Now should one of you become ill or on travel, then he should count from other days, meaning make up these fasts on other days. Now we come on to the concession if someone cannot fast in Ramadan. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned 2 types of concession. Number 1, you have become ill. This illness refers to, it's not permanent illness, it's temporary illness. And it's such an illness which makes it unbearable for the person to fast. One cannot bear the pain if one will keep this fast. or one has consulted with a Muslim experienced doctor and they have said that it's better that you do not keep the fast. So such an illness that will increase the illness, the anxiety problem, which can lead to further illness, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given this concession. And we'll come on to the concession later, inshallah. Number 2, أو على سفر, if you are on travel. Now the word musafir has not been mentioned here. Musafir means a traveler. Because it's not enough that you leave your house and travel for 5 miles or 10 miles and you are traveling, that you will come under this concession. The word Allah has mentioned is أو على سفر, that you are on travel. What does it mean by travel? The verse itself has not explained this. So we get guidance from the statement and the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the guidance and the statements of the fuqaha. So for this it refers to walking for 3 days would mean that a person is on travel, which the later fuqahas have taken to be 48 miles. Now you set off from your house and you've made the intention to travel. Now, when you get out the border of your city, and which refers to where the houses, there's no longer any houses, and you start your travel, then while you are traveling and made this intention that you are on travel, then one will become now a musafir. And it's clear and obvious during this travel, you may stop somewhere and take a rest. That does not take you out of this concession. You may rest, you still will be a traveler. And then you continue your journey. So while you're on this travel, you will be as a musafir, which means you will have the option, the concession not to fast. However, there's one important thing that we need to understand here. One important thing is that, for example, Ramadan is on Tuesday. I'm just giving an example. Not something, please don't take this as a certainty. I'm just giving an example. The first fast is on Tuesday. You intend to travel, go to another country. Your flight is at 3 p.m. and now you will leave to the airport 4 or 5 hours before. And let's just say Ramadan begins and you decide, okay, I'm traveling today, so I will miss my fast. That is not permissible. Because if you have spent Subh Sadiq, dawn, you were as a local, you are at home at the time of dawn, for the Ramadan fast is obligatory upon you. Not that you are traveling 4 or 5 hours later, so you decide, okay, I will not fast today because I'm going to travel. That's not the ruling. Because while you were at the time of dawn, even though it's guaranteed that you are going to travel a few hours later, but because at the time of dawn you are home, you must keep a fast. Many people miss this fast. They're traveling 4 or 5 hours later and they think, okay, I have this concession. This concession has not yet started. The concession will start while you are on travel. Because you are home at the time, local time, and you are local, that means fast is obligatory upon you. Now you are on travel, in a state of traveling, which means that half of your fast is while you are in the state of traveling, and then you will finish the fast. So this ruling we need to keep in mind. Many times, it all depends at the time of dawn where you are. And according to that, the concession will be given. Now we move on further. أو على سفر. So while you are on travel, so you are traveling, you may need to take breaks. This will not reduce the concession. One will still have concession. However, if you are going to travel to a place where you are going to stay for a considerable time, which again, the Quran is not mentioned, but we learn from the guidance of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is 15 days. If you are going to stay, while you are traveling, you had this concession, now you are going to stay at a place for 15 days. Then now, this concession will be taken and you will be like a muqim, as a local person there. Because it's a long time that you are staying. So you would have to pray full and keep your fast also. But if you are moving around from place to place, you're only there for a resting bit of time, 2 days, and then you're going to move on, carry on, then you'll be still classified as a musafir, as a traveler, and this concession will remain. So this is important to understand. Now, if one decides to fast because they may be traveling somewhere in the UK and it's not difficult for them, then they have this option, they can fast. But if one wants to take the concession, then this is entirely up to them. So it's case by case depending on the person and their travel situations. But if you're traveling and that mashaqqa and difficulty can come, especially on a plane and these other countries and the timings, then one is better. Sometimes people decide to fast and fast is increased by many hours, and then they find it very difficult to take this concession that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given. So these are two concessions which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given. One is not permanent illness, temporary illness. And number two is while one is on travel. Now, what should one do if you have missed a fast because you are temporarily ill, or if you have missed a fast while you are on travel? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. Now you have, after Ramadan, days where you can make up for these fasts. After you become healthy, after you have traveled, you come back after Ramadan, and because Allah has mentioned فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ, it can be any day of the year that you have, that you find it easy to fast. Let's say you've missed 5 days and you decide to keep 2. The sooner the better, because it's fard and we have to complete this. But if one keeps 2 in Shawwal, then one keeps 2 in the month of Muharram, and 2 in the month of Safar, or 1 in the month of Safar, you keep 1 and then you miss 1 day and keep another, it's all fine. From this part of the verse, فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ. After you become healthy, make up for this fast. وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. And those that have the strength to fast, they have the choice of giving ransom or feeding a needy person. But whoever does good, then it is better for him. And if you fast, it's better for you, if only you knew. Now, there's a long hadith, Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiallahu anhu. He narrates and reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned 3 changes happened in the prayer, salah, from the early days. And there were 3 things which changes happened in the fasts. The 3 changes that happened in the fast, number 1, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to Madinatul Munawwara, the Muslims would fast 3 days a month, and they would fast on the 10th of Muharram. Later, from the verse Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyam, where Allah addresses the believers that fasting has become obligatory upon you, then the Muslims fasted in the month of Ramadan. That was one change. Now, when the Muslims fasted in the month of Ramadan, in the early days of Islam, so it becomes familiar to the Muslims, they had a choice. The choice was that you can fast in Ramadan, or either you give ransom, which is called fidya, ta'amu miskin, give a poor and needy person a meal. Although it was better, وَأَن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ, fast is better, but they had this concession so people become familiar with the fast of Ramadan. Then later, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْ was revealed. Whoever witnesses the month of Ramadan, فَلْيَصُمْ, then he must fast. So this concession was taken away with 2 changes that we have discussed. Number 3, in the early days, after iftar, eating, drinking, and being intimate with the wife was permissible until one did not sleep. If one went to sleep, now, even though it could be an hour, 2 hours later, their fast would begin. Then this also changed from the verse أُحِلَّ لَكُمْ لَيْلَةَ الصِّيَامِ الرَّفَثُ إِلَى نِسَائِكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent this long verse which discussed now is halal for you, that you can be intimate with your wife, and now you can eat and drink. ثُمَّ أَتِمُّ الصِّيَامَ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ. All throughout night this can happen until dawn. This was the 3rd change that happened. So 3 changes in the early days of Islam when fasting became obligatory, and then these 3 changes. So the first change which has been discussed here, that those that have the ability, they have the choice, they can give fidya, was abrogated, was mansukh from فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْ, when whoever witnesses Ramadan, they must fast. However, with the consensus of the ulama, there is one concession which remains, that is for an elderly person who is very ill. And in the term that is used in the fiqh books is a shaykhifani, that is someone who is very ill, has no ability to fast, then the concession remains for them that they cannot fast, they can give fidya, ransom. The fidya that they will give, the ransom, is ta'amu miskin. You must feed a needy person, which is half a kilo of wheat, which is equivalent in grams to 1.6 plus almost to 1.7. The market value of this will be given to a miskin, a needy person, for one fast. And it is better not to give one person several days of fidya. It's better, this is what the ulama has mentioned. They give it to one person, that fidya for that day. This will cover now for one fast. فَمَنْ تَطَوَّأَ خَيْرًا فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ. Whoever does good, then it is better for him. And if you fast, then it's better for you. Even in the early days, it was mentioned that if you fast, then it's better for you. Now sometimes, brothers come and ask, my mother's ill, what she needs to give fidya, what does she need to pay for? If your mother is permanently ill, then you can think about fidya. And even though if she does recover, she must keep the fasts. If she's temporarily ill, then the rule is that you have to keep them fast when you become healthy. This concession is only for the person that is ill. Or if you are permanently ill and and you are very certain that you will not become healthy again or can fast again, then you can give fidya, but the intention should be, if Allah gives me health, then I will fast to make up for these fasts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to understand what we have heard and to spread unto others. Ameen. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillah.